Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Creativity Broadcast. I am your host, Laura Westman. I am a coach. Often we're talking from that perspective on this channel, but today I'm here proudly as the artiste that I am, celebrating 2 months of my album, Moves, being out into the world. This is my second album, and if you know anything about me, you know that one of my core values is appreciation. And I can't think of a better way to express that than to create a video sharing with more of you about the intent behind the album and some of the artistic conversations, both technical, intentional, accidental, that have created this beautiful work of art that I'm so proud of. So thanks for joining me today. Welcome to the deep dive behind the tracks on Moves album. So as I go through this, I'm going to link the tracks below so that if you want to, you can click, you can listen to the song, and then come right back and hear my commentary. So I've had a couple of people ask me a little bit about the title of the album, Moves. And rather than overtalk it, I would invite you to listen to the rest of my commentary on the tracks through the lens of a theme of moves, making moves in life, moving from one chapter to the next, kind of as a theme threaded through the entire album, almost like a conversation. And I'll let you string those things together. The first track on the album is called Bluebird, and Bluebird is a song that I wrote in 2022 for the acoustic guitar project. My friend Noah Evan Wilson is one of the curators of that project in New York City, and it's really cool. You receive a guitar for a week, and you have to write and compose a song on that guitar specifically, and then send it on to the next artist. And so Bluebird is basically a snapshot of where I felt like I was at the time, where I felt very at the beginning of giving up some really automatic ways of doing things in my life without really understanding where I was going next, but having a lot of faith in the journey. And so the original version of Bluebird is just me and acoustic guitar. And one of the things I love the most about this song is I feel like it's very honest and very simple. And there's a couple of lyrics in there that I really enjoy personally. I have some friends who say that their favorite lyrics of the whole album are actually in Bluebird. There's a refrain that gets repeated a couple of times. How many times will I cry? Take me by surprise. And Take me by surprise is also a refrain in Bluebird, because I think when you're working on a transformation, especially when you're kind of going through it and in some of the darker parts of the transformational process and in any part of life, I think that being open to being surprised in a positive way is a really healthy reframe about not knowing what's going to be happening next in life. So I'm open to being surprised. Take me by surprise. But every time I played the song live, there's at the beginning of the song, the first lyrics are, I can't tell if I'm sad or not. I can't tell if I'm mad or if it's hot outside. And usually when I play that live, someone in the audience audibly laughs, and it makes me very, very happy. Anyway, this song is kind of the seed of the entire album, because Neil Curry, who is my friend, my bandmate, my collaborator, he and I met when I was performing that song at an open mic, and he offered to do some backup electric guitar on it, and it sounded so nice. I felt like it was kind of it was just improvised by him in that moment, but I felt like the combination of those two sounds between my simple acoustic guitar and his really lovely kind of like floating, almost like a butterfly or a bluebird, electric guitar, to me felt like it was the essence of the song, of like what I was trying to create with that. And so I asked him if he would be willing to record it sometime, and that kind of became this bigger collaboration that turned into this 6-track EP. So Neil, thank you. You're the best. And this first track of Bluebird is actually, I would call this Neil's version of Bluebird, because he did the full instrumentation of it, and I think it sounds freaking awesome. And it kind of took the song from being a meandery acoustic, like reflective song into like an actual rock song. And it was really cool because I hadn't ever thought about it that way. And it also pushed me vocally. If you listen to it, there's some stuff I'm doing in there in my vocal mix that I've never done before, attempted, thought of, so I really love this version of Bluebird, and I hope you do too. Okay, next track is Station Square. Station Square. This song is everything to me. It's funny because when people listen to it, I've gotten feedback that the song is very beautiful, and by the end of it, like really easy to get into. And I know why. It was by design. But what I want to share with all of you about this track is that this is definitely my favorite song that I've ever produced of my own, which is kind of hard to say because every track on this album to me is really special. But Station Square, the last minute and 45 seconds has this cool shift and bit of a breakdown. And then the final refrain of the song happens 2 times, and it gets really heightened with extra backup vocals, extra piano, guitar is doing crazy stuff, bass and guitar meeting each other. And I've definitely said to more than one friend on more than one occasion that when life is feeling bad, or I'm feeling like I don't know what I'm doing anymore, the self-doubt is really strong, I think to myself, at least I have the harmonies in Station Square. Because to me, the way that all of that marries together is like a dream come true to me. Even if nobody else likes it, I love it. I love it so much. I can't believe that we made that sound. And there's also something really weird and special about getting to harmonize with yourself, because it literally just flows together so nicely. And I'm really, really proud of it. I love the agony in the song. I love the anguish. I love this song as a constant move from like a sustained 4 to a resolution. And so to me, that kind of represents the feeling of that song, which is really about a person who I envisioned when I wrote the song. I actually envisioned Nellie Olson from Little House on the Prairie being fed up with some rich guy that she got married off to and wanting something better for herself and deciding to leave, to take a train and go start a new life. And so I don't think that's actually what happened to Nellie Olson from Little House on the Prairie. In fact, I think we're supposed to hate her. But for whatever reason, once during probably 2020, I was outside for a walk in New Jersey where we were living, and I was walking through this neighborhood, and I went past a cul-de-sac called Station Square. That was what it was called, Station Square, and it's right next to a New Jersey transit stop. And I remember just like suddenly thinking about a Station Square and like, what if there's a big locomotor, and what's it like in that town square, and who's there, and what kind of thoughts is someone having as they're getting on that train. And it just became this, kind of historical fantasy that I was building. And then suddenly the song kind of just wrote itself. I waited for you like I said I would, changed my dress like I knew I could, or because I knew I could. Just kind of signifying new independence. But I will be honest that the second verse is my favorite. Sugar frosting and lemonade, a pinafore, special made, all to come to you, and your eyes so blue. Letters passed and bargains made, promises, the war brigade, another hollow smile, I'm barefoot 20 miles. You know what I don't, but I'll say what you won't. You were never gonna love me. And me, how'd I let this get so ugly? It's making me choked up just thinking about it, because I think there's a lot of different ways that things end in life, and there's a lot of ways that we're left on the other side of those endings. And this song captures one element of leaving something that you know isn't good for you, and you can't entirely blame the other party, because you're also asking that question of me. How did I let this get so ugly? How did I? Da, 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 da. So I love Station Square. I loved moving this song from piano ballad into rock song. I think that final minute and 45 seconds with rock instruments sounds so cool. And yeah, I just really love it. I hope you all love it. You'll have to let me know what you think about it. I also we've been working on the live version of some of these tracks, getting ready to play them out and about, which is another dream come true. And when we were preparing to do a gig in April, it was just the two of us, and we were working on adapting Station Square. I'm so obsessed with the multiple harmonies, multiple guitars rock version, and it took a little bit of time to figure out what's the slower, kind of stripped down acoustic version that is just piano and acoustic guitar. And I think now that we've nailed it, I think it's also super beautiful, very different vibe, like very different quality of regret, but I also love it. So yeah, y'all have to listen to it and let me know what you think. One more thing about Station Square before we move on, because I just love it so much. In the last round of the chorus, I've changed the lyrics, and to me they're just so exquisite. So we go from you were never gonna love me. We go into you were always running from me, and that change plus the extra harmonies on top. It feels embarrassing how much I love this song. Okay, so the next track is Take the Wind. And Take the Wind, some of you might have heard before because we released it last June as a single. It was complete and it sounded so great and I just couldn't wait to put it out. But also a single is kind of a cool way to showcase what you're working on, get people a little bit excited. I mean, that does kind of work better if you have an audience, which I don't know if I really have one, but thank you all for being mine. So Take the Wind is a song that I wrote many, many years ago. Cody and I took a trip. We took a cruise across the Atlantic with Croisière de France, and it was many days at sea, and I was very bored. And I just remember sitting on the front of the ship looking out over the seemingly endless Atlantic Ocean. It was just straight blue the entire way in every direction. And this song kind of just happened as I was sitting there writing all the lyrics. Take the Wind is a song about giving up your wildness for something deeper, and it's kind of a song about joyful commitment. That makes it sound kind of boring, but I really love it. To me, Take the Wind is a really fun song because first of all, on a technical level, one of the things that Neil brought to this song that I had never thought of was, again, keeping it up tempo. If you listen to it, you can hear mandolin, which kind of gives it this amazing, almost like sea shanty kind of vibe to it. But there's also something kind of cool, almost like a sort of vintage rock vibe to this by the end. And the other thing I really enjoyed that we did for this one was something called double tracking, where you record your vocal lines a second time and kind of layer them on top of each other. It adds different texture and depth to some of the vocals. And so in the chorus of Take the Wind, you can hear we're double tracking my lead vocals, but we're also double tracking the upper harmony that I created, and it's just whoa, sonically kind of cool and crazy and surround sound kind of thing. This is a song that I sort of wrote off as, oh, it's floating around in the ether. I want to get it completed so that it's no longer, haunting me. But I didn't feel a ton of warmth toward it like I do some of my other songs. But now this version that we've created that's on the album, I freaking love this song. It's so happy and cool and up-tempo. And I realized too, in hindsight, I wrote it very quickly, so I didn't really reflect very hard on the lyrics, but for me, this song, especially the chorus of the song, Take the Wind, drive me by, far beyond the lonely sky, I was wild, but you were bright as the sun. Stars at night, take me on, pin me down, trust me to run. I'm alive and I know you are the one. It sounds to me like that sort of wild, romantic part of you that just is like sensual and loves to be wild and free, and like that part actually getting curious about I don't want to call it settling down because that feels like the wrong energy, but about coupling up and choosing someone. And I love that I wrote that. And I love how, for me, I feel like nature can be very sensual. And so there's a lot of references to the outdoors and the sea and trees and stars in this song, because to me that's part of like the romance of being alive. So Take the Wind is a really cool one. I just love what it became, and I hope you guys really like it. And next we have Blue Sky. Blue Sky. This song has taken me by surprise. Sorry. Mostly because this song seems to be most people's favorite on the whole album. And yeah, it's a big surprise to me because the song sort of felt like, well, I wrote the song because I wanted to round out the project, and I felt like Bluebird as a track kind of opens up a lot of questions. And in the theme of the album, Moves, so much of the conversation in the album is about like really coming to a sense of completion with things ending and things beginning again. So I felt like as a track, Bluebird is more about endings and questions, and a sense of kind of hopeful optimism, even when things are dark. And I was like, I wonder what's the follow-up conversation to Bluebird. And so Blue Sky kind of just happened. Well, this is also, I think, the only song on the album that didn't just get written one day. This was one that I sat down and very deliberately was like, okay, we're going to write this song right now, and turn it into a song. I think that day was the day. Oh yeah, it was my birthday that summer, and I had set a personal deadline to send Neil the entire album, like all of my tracks that I wanted to work on. And so it was just the last day. I just like needed to write something. And so I thought about Bluebird, and I was like, where do we pick up the conversation about Bluebird from that first track? And so that first line, sometimes a bird flies too high, just kind of showed up. So I wrote it down. And I love it because it's sort of like, this is the next line. Sometimes a bird don't even try. And I like it because it's a totally different vibe than Bluebird, where you're sort of like meandering in the dark and wondering. It's more like being a little bird on a branch in life and looking up at the sky and being like, oh my God, I really want to fly. But like, and I feel often when we're considering making changes in life, sometimes we do it because we're forced to. Sometimes change requires a little bit more of a joyful leap, like a literal leap of faith. And so that's what this song is about, is being that bird, learning how to fly. And there's risk, and there's also reward. So that's the story of Blue Sky. One thing that is really great about this track, though, that I find incredibly endearing is in the mix of the track, if you listen very closely at the beginning before the music starts, there's two room sounds, we could call them. One is the squeak of my stool that I was sitting on, and then it's a couple of barks from Neil's dog Reggie. So I hope the song wins a Grammy someday so that Reggie can be the first Grammy award-winning dog. That would be so fun. Anyway, I hope that you really enjoy this song. The end of it, to me, when Neil fills it with so much cool guitar, to me it sounds like being a bird cruising up in the sky and just being delighted that you took a risk. So that's Blue Sky. Home, Home, Home. That's the next track. And Home is a song, this is a reimagined song. I wrote an original version of this as a gift from my dad for Christmas a couple of years ago. And I was thinking about producing the song for this album because I think the theme of home and where you belong is pretty central to the themes of the album. And like searching for a place that feels like home. I feel like for so many of us, that's the journey of adulthood, is how do I find that sense of belonging, both in an emotional capacity, but also physical, like your home. And so Home is a song, this version of it that we created for the album is less of an homage to Homes for Dad, because that's what I wrote it for, and more evolving it into the story of my homes and my relationship with home, going from my parents having their home in Madison, Wisconsin. That's the reference to State Street is being in Madison with them. And then it moves through Durham, North Carolina during a time when my parents were divorcing. And so that second verse about crooked photos, I'm a ghost of what I've known, is really about that period of time of like really losing that sense of having a place to go back to. You know, I think this song, I don't talk about it a lot because to me this is one of the more personal that's stupid to say, it's all very personal, but I think my relationship with home has been probably one of the biggest pain points, and therefore healing it one of the most wonderful things in my life. And in a way, this album is really about coming home to oneself and really finding that sense of inner security in you and your voice and your ability to make choices. But this track is also about that physical place that is home. And how do you know? So we have these two verses that are about the location. The first verse, we have Wisconsin, and then there's this kind of sweet, childlike verse about the hideaway and calling the kitties in from outside, which is just such a distinct, it's a memory from a very distinct period of my life when we had outdoor kitties that we had to call back in at the end of the day. And yeah, everybody coming home for dinner. And the chorus of the song, I was trying to think about like, what's the most honest thing that I could say about a home? And so the chorus to me is that life, it moves through, mountains get climbed. And throughout the song, life moves through, sort of gets, I think, more depth and gravity as we go. And by the end, by the time we're listening to it after the instrumental bridge, which is very lonely, and the third verse, which is about finding your place, life moves through, kind of has a more positive feeling to it by the end of the song, because we've actually landed somewhere. We've like really created that sense of home. And that bridge is really special to me because the song is like, it's a rock song. It's fully instrumentated. Did I say that right? And then the bridge is simply piano, a little bit of slide guitar, and then this beautiful rain sound. And I love that the rain is there because it kind of represents a few different things. One is this sort of like cleansing of pain. One is also kind of the loneliness of rain, you know, and feeling like being rained on. And then there's also this sense too of like how secure it is to be in a home when it's raining outside, and it's very pleasant and you feel very cozy and taken care of. So I feel like it says a lot of different things very deeply without having any lyrics to it. It's probably like one of my favorite moments on the album, which is sort of weird to say because I do really like my lyrics. I'm very proud of them, but I do think that moment's really powerful. And so that last verse, home, 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 we watch the snow fall all around our home, which is a kind of, well, anyway, We watch the snowfall all around our home. We have this like beautiful nature, almost this like acceptance of the darker parts of life, of a sense of grieving, which in the second verse, can't watch the sunset when we're at home, couldn't deal with earlier in life. So we have this sense of like, we watch the snowfall all around our home. It's something when you choose the place that is your own. I love the moonrise when we're at home. And to me, that phrase is how I feel in my home here in the Hudson Valley with my husband. And it's very secure and grounded and beautiful and serene and simple. And this moonrise thing is, first of all, really true, because we can see so much sky. You can see the moonrise all the time, and it is so awesome and beautiful. But it's also a direct foil to the second verse, that line, can't watch the sunset when we're at home. So it's sort of like representing this integration of like actually being able to hold more of life and more represented by more of nature than you ever could before, and finding a sense of belonging and security in that. And I think the lyric changes to the final chorus also kind of bring that to the forefront. So you'll have to listen and let me know what you think. Do you have feelings around home that are similar to the song, or are they different? I'd like to know. And at last, we have the final track of the album, Bluebird's Summer Afternoon version. And this is as close to we could get to that first time that Neil and I played together, when I played Bluebird on my acoustic guitar and he played and just improvised electric guitar along with it. And I loved it so much. I thought it was so sweet and perfect. And so we came up with what's the album version of that. And I love this song because it's so dressed down, and it's very tender. I think there's a way that I'm singing in this version of the song that feels super honest and really true to the essence of the song. And it was really nerve-wracking to record, because sometimes when you're recording, you do everything isolated. You know, you play the guitar and you track that, and then you do vocals and you track those. And for this, just due to the nature of the song and some of the recording setup, we thought, you know what, let's go ahead and record vocals and me playing acoustic guitar all at once, which though some of you might be aware, I'm actually really new to playing the guitar. Piano is more my comfort zone. And so I was feeling a little bit wiggly and nervous about doing it on my own, but it also felt like a very cool, vulnerable thing to do, you know? And so, but I was getting really nervous because I wanted to get good vocal performance and also not mess up the guitar or do something super weird. And, you know, by the end, I think I maybe did it twice. And the second take, we were both like, that was so good. Like, we're listening to it, and everything's really nice, as you can hear when you listen to it. I love when I can play with, like, play along to my vocals, because I feel like I can really, when I'm doing it live together, I feel more in conversation with the music. It's how I feel when I accompany myself on piano as well. Where it can feel a little bit more dynamic, and I can kind of follow the feelings in the song versus trying to match something that's supposed to be on a particular rhythm. This is also an advance apology to future bandmates, because I'm like, sometimes I think a little too expressive. Like, I need to stay on tempo a little bit more. Anyway, this was one of those moments where, like, I could actually really indulge that. And it sounded really nice. I felt really good about the whole thing. Except there's one moment after the bridge where I'm sliding my hand down the fretboard, and you can hear me hit the wrong note with the bass string. We're like, what do we do with this? Because everything else is literally so wonderful. I don't want to redo the whole thing. And so we kind of went into this experimental mode of like, do we cover it up? Do we add something else to it? And where we landed is what you can hear on the track, which is almost this, it sort of starts like a siren sound, and then it becomes more of this like kind of like tropical oasis little floaty thing. And I love that because to me it's like a perfect thing to put in this song, which is both about it's like rumination and it's also anxious. And I think that moment in the song, having something like that is kind of awesome because the bridge is sort of this little freak out moment. And so then we have the guitar siren kind of signaling this like freak out, and then it actually becomes soothed and soothing with the very last verse, which is a much more optimistic take on the sort of like darkness that the song is really about. So I think that's one of those moments of a mistake becoming a really cool opportunity in music. And yeah, I just I love how it turned out. I think it's really beautiful. And yeah, I just super love it. I love getting to play it. I hope you all really enjoy it. I also really loved getting to put my upper harmonies in it too, because that's a harmony line that came to me very naturally, just listening to the song. And it's so fun to harmonize with myself. Like the blend of getting to sing with yourself is unique and cool. I just totally love it. On that note of accidents that end up becoming really cool, I forgot to say this earlier, but the Blue Sky track, we recorded those vocals as kind of a stopgap while we filled out the rest of the song. And I really thought that we would end up doing another take because I was actually recovering from COVID. And I think that was the first time that I had been singing in, you know, a couple of weeks and like getting back into it. And so I was convinced that it was a really weak take, but then it ended up being really good. And that was sort of a like bizarre confidence booster for me of being like, wow, I was able to do that when I was not even at full vocal power. Like that's kind of cool. Plus it's also kind of a sign of the times, you know, like a memory like that being kind of baked into your album really does. It is a very like, you know, post-pandemic moment for sure. The album artwork is a photo that I took in January 2024, I think. I don't remember when it was. But I freaking love the winter in the Hudson Valley. I mean, I think it lasts a little too long, but it is so beautiful. And there's something about the contrast between a tree in winter, like the bark has like a very cool, almost like white quality. And then there's, you know, the grass and the straw has this very yellowy look against a very blue sky. And there's just something about the presence of those colors all together. And it's everywhere up here in the wintertime. And I just freaking love it. In fact, as I was working through a lot of this music, I'd be staring out this window right in front of me, looking over into a field filled with those elements and those colors. And so when I thought about the album artwork, I really wanted it to just be evocative of that. First of all, because I think it's really beautiful, but secondly, because I think a lot of the hard parts of the album where, you know, through the music, I'm processing a lot of change. It's also about finding beauty in the kind of darker times, like the middle of winter when nothing has bloomed and you're cold. There's still something really beautiful even in that. So that's what that's about. And then I also wanted to show you all, celebrate the album. My dear friend Emily Gleish made some beautiful artwork based on Bluebird lyrics, and I put it on a magnet and I mailed it out to a bunch of people. A prism of beautiful opportunity. How gorgeous is that? And I realized now that I've sent them all out, I want to give them away more. I might have some printed again, and maybe we'll have a merch table at an upcoming gig. You'll have to tell me if you want one. I totally love them. Thank you, Emily. Emily also did the lettering on the album cover. So thank you, Emily, for just being such a wonderful artistic partner. I feel like this album, one of the things I enjoy about this album versus my first one is how much I got to do this with other people and really enjoy that, you know? So not only the music, but also the artwork and everything just feels like a cool celebration of friendship and partnership. I'm really grateful. So those are all the tracks on Move's album. I would be super curious if you want to leave some comments about the themes that you heard of moves and moving and change, and some change being very joyful and some change being kind of devastating. To me, this album is all about being able to find your own sense of agency and beauty in all different parts of making changes in life, because we're always kind of in transition. I know there's some times that feel freakier change-wise than others, for sure, you know? And hopefully some of the music on this album provides a little bit of a soundtrack for you the next time that you're going through something and you need a touchstone, or you're really going through a hard time and you're like, how many times will I cry? And you're like, oh, I heard this in a song. All right, that's it for my behind the tracks deep dive today. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Really hope you enjoy the music. And hopefully we have some cool things to share with you guys. So I'm really bad at teasing things. We do have a show coming up in July that I'm really excited for. So keep an eye out if you're up in the Hudson Valley and would like to come. And also I have an event I'm doing soon that I'm calling the Creativity Spa. So if you're interested in the Creativity Spa, I'll link to it below. It's going to be really special because it's the kind of thing I would want to attend. So I'm going to make it and invite people to. So it's going to be kind of a half day at home retreat, and we're going to do a good amount of like mind, body, spirit stuff, but we're also going to share our creative work and kind of give our creative work massages as a group. And I know it sounds corny, but it's something I would really like to do. So if you want to attend, please join us. It's going to be really cool. And thanks again. It is the happiest miracle of my life to get to make music and feel free and healthy doing it and get to talk about it. So thanks for being part of my community, and thanks for spending time with me and my art. It's really cool. And you're cool. All right, thanks. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I'll see you soon.